this. What enchants people to leave the life they're accustomed to and travel thousands of miles north in search of heaven's floor? Furthermore, when did this pilgrimage begin?
You got it?
Yeah.
Just set her up there and I'll give her a show.
The Gold Prospectors Association of America is gearing up for another year of adventure for the future participants of its Alaska Gold Expedition. Blake Harmon, the expedition manager for the GPAA, is working with suppliers and transportation companies in Seattle in order to secure provisions and equipment necessary to last everyone the summer in the remote landscape of northern Alaska. The city of Seattle has long played a crucial role as the center of trade and transport. Now, we'll look at how the city's history has largely been impacted by the role it played in the Great Klondike Gold Rush of the late 1800s.
Extra, extra! Gold found in the Klondike! Read all about it!
The headline that started in Seattle and San Francisco soon resonated throughout the world, and the news could not have broke at a more perfect time.
There was 20% unemployment nationwide and hundreds of bank failures.
Upon the arrival of the steamship Portland to the docks of Seattle on July 17, 1897, carrying with it 68 miners and more than a ton of gold, the United States was only beginning to come out of the panic of 1893, which was the worst recession the country had seen to date.
And then you didn't have any umbrellas, you didn't have unemployment, you didn't have any of those things. Any of that stuff didn't exist.
The cargo on board the SS Portland and the SS Excelsior, which docked in San Francisco the day prior, would be worth over $1 billion today. This discovery offered hope to people in a failing economy.
It was just an interesting way to come out of a depression.
Only 100,000 people came up here, but millions got off their rear ends and moved just 15, 20 miles, 50 miles west. But finally, that spirit just caught hold of America and Canada. There was a little bit of hope, and it was the gold rush that gave them that.
All they had to do was get up to the Yukon with some very rudimentary equipment, and you had the possibility of being a millionaire with 1 year's worth of work.
A lot of people have restarted their lives after great failure and been able to succeed and to do well and to be happy. Alaska allows you to do that.
Both Seattle and San Francisco saw the excitement of the gold discovery in the Klondike as a means of salvation from their economic struggles over the past 5 years. Both ports began a battle to be the premier outfitter for the trek north, and with the help of marketing genius Erastus Brainerd, it did not take long for Seattle to win the war.
There was a quote that if you wanted to be a part of the Klondike Gold Rush, you needed to be prepared with about a year's worth of provisions.
Erastus Brainerd and the Seattle Chamber of Commerce took that information and used it for all it was worth.
Mr. Brainerd was a master promoter. He wrote honest articles. He wasn't telling any fibs. What he did was send press releases to every newspaper and magazine that had a subscription of over 400 in the United States.
You should have seen the advertising that was going out over the telegraph wires that was erupting in all the newspapers across the United States saying, come to Seattle, your jumping off point for the Klondike, for gold, riches to be had. Just get to Seattle and we'll outfit you and we'll send you north.
The advertising campaign that came out of Seattle was 5 times greater than any other West Coast city's efforts to be the jumping off point to the Klondike.
It worked. It's estimated that about 70,000 people came through Seattle, got geared up, then headed north.
Within hours following Erastus Brainerd's promotional efforts, Seattle had become a household name nationwide. When we come back, we'll continue looking at Seattle's rich gold rush history, as well as how the city today is still playing a major role with modern-day gold miners. Beginning in the summer of 1897, the economy in Seattle was flourishing.
Wherever you were, anywhere in the United States, you would read about the Klondike Gold Rush.
Klondicitis was spreading like a virus.
Seemingly rational people left their homes and their jobs, if they had jobs, and they just all wanted to rush up here. They got caught up in this mass movement, if you will, to the far north.
If you were trying to make a living catching fish and the fishing was bad and someone told you that they had just discovered gold, what would you be doing the next day?
Even the mayor of Seattle at the time, William D. Wood, turned in his resignation immediately after hearing of the discovery of gold in the Yukon and started his journey north.
There's more to the Seattle history than meets the casual eye.
They were extraordinary people and risk takers and by nature, gamblers and dreamers, as one author called them.
Within 10 days of the SS Portland's arrival, 1,500 miners had already set course to the Great White North.
You could imagine how exciting that would have been for everyone around, and it really made Seattle the city it is today.
After more than a century since the Klondike Gold Rush, Seattle has not forgotten its history and how it became the city it is today.
Seattle's population did grow quite a bit between 1900 and 1910. It tripled from about 80,000 to 240,000.
One contributing factor to Seattle's spike in population is a result of the limited amount of ships embarking for the Klondike. This created a demand for many local businesses, which in turn boosted Seattle's economy with the creation of thousands of jobs.
It really put Seattle on the map. You know, different stores and all kinds of supplies were sold here for people to get on a boat and go try to find their own fortune.
This part of town was perhaps one of the main business districts. There were many hotels in the buildings in the neighborhood, merchants, restaurants, entertainment of one kind and another. It was very easy to arrive by train, find a room, buy your equipment, have it sent down to a particular ship, and then head north.
Most of the original buildings are still standing in what is known as Pioneer Square.
A lot of landscaping has been done in the intervening years to make this land more habitable and profitable.
One of its more notable properties is the Klondike Gold Rush National Historical Park Museum.
This building is built originally in 1889, right after the Great Seattle Fire, one of the first buildings to come up, and most of its life it's been a hotel building. People who were going on the Klondike Gold Rush had actually stayed in this building.
The National Park Service is active in educating its visitors, as well as preserving what is left from this celebrated time in history. Business owners around the Seattle area are also contributing to the preservation of the history of the Klondike, including Kyle Griffith, who owns and operates Miners Landing Pier 57.
The actual pier was built in the late 1800s. It was the old Milwaukee Railroad pier. And like all the piers down here, they were built with a tremendous amount of pile underneath to be able to take a rail car And what they would do then is load up with ships, and this was a working port. People are really hungry to know about the gold rush. It's a really neat story. It's what made Seattle, Seattle. And we have the crab pot restaurant and we have the fisherman's restaurant here. And kind of everything we do is geared towards educating and showing off, how great it is here in Seattle.
Although a lot has changed in the transportation industry from 1897 until now, Seattle still acts as a major hub servicing all of Alaska and the Northwest Territories of Canada. When we come back, Frank, Ralph, and Blake gear up for a season of prospecting in remote Alaska.
Gold. It has lured adventurers and dreamers for centuries. Its glimmer speaks of fortunes and unexplored frontiers. Imagine if you could be part of this grand adventure. Imagine if you could seek out your own fortune. With the Gold Prospectors Association of America, you can. When you join our ranks, you become part of a community that shares your passion for prospecting. You gain access to resources, expert guides, and exclusive claims. Whether you're a seasoned prospector or just starting out, our association offers a wealth of knowledge and opportunities. We host exciting events, offer education and training, and provide tools to help you strike gold. But it's not just about the gold. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovery, and the friendships forged along the way. So, are you ready to embark on your own gold prospecting adventure? Your journey starts here.
Alaska's winter months can see temperatures as low as 40 degrees below zero Fahrenheit. As a result, the vast majority of the ocean surrounding Alaska's coastline freezes, making sea transportation impossible. Many towns and villages in Alaska are so remote that they are only accessible by sea and air. When delivering thousands of pounds of supplies, air transportation can be monetarily impractical. Larry Graham, terminal manager for Northland Services out of Seattle, is responsible for transporting a year's worth of supplies to Alaska in only a few short months.
Northern Alaska is ice-free only for a portion of the year. The further south you are, the longer that period. We do want to try to push the ice edge. We want to be into those communities as early as possible. As the ice comes into spring and starts softening, we can deal with some ice flow if it's broken up. We help negotiate through the ice by using aircraft to look for leads through the ice. From the captain's point of view, all he sees is nothing but white.
It's so big. Parts of Alaska are open all the year round, 24/7. Other parts of Alaska, farther up north, it ices in so heavy that transit up there is unacceptable. You can't get through it. If you can't get through, well, you better hope that you can get through before you make that commitment.
Deadlines at Northland Services and other companies like it are non-negotiable.
All your project freight and your big volume that you need to get moved for a whole year has to occur in those ice-free months. There are no roads in and out of these communities, no rail. So propane, fuels, all kinds of commodities are critical to surviving in Alaska. It's a seasonal rush.
Well, in Nome, everything's cost a premium because all the suppliers are going to be paying a premium to ship it up there, and then the companies that you buy it from up there are going to be marking things up so they can make a profit too. So that's why you pay $5.50 or $6 for a gallon of gas up there when you can get it for $4 here. So getting all our supplies in the lower 48 and shipping them up is just by far the most economical way for us to do it.
We got it. Wait, what you want to get up first? I think we should get that tractor work done and get the skids. Okay. And then we can stack our stuff behind it.
First of all, Ralph is a pretty creative guy. He's always coming up with ways to make things work out. He's always got his crazy scheme that'll make it work.
The logistics of setting up a camp and things like this is really phenomenal if you really get into it. I'll pull the whole thing out. Okay. You got your housekeeping, you got your maintenance, you've got your dredge crew, you've got supply, you've got all kinds of things going on.
You know, truck parts, small engine parts, whether we're going to get new ATVs or new pumps or new mining equipment.
There's a lot of time involved in actually looking for the items, because a lot of this stuff is specialized what we use up there.
Frank actually has a container delivered to his doorstep, and he works on it for months before we even get up here to load it up.
Okay, go ahead and get the tractor if you want to.
Yeah, you drive that sucker, eh? I'm not used to that guy.
He's a huge asset to this camp, and it'd be a lot more difficult to do things if he weren't around to do this for us.
I don't think he's going to make it, do you? He might be able to drag it.
When we come back, we'll see if the team's efforts paid off for a successful start to this modern-day gold rush. The Cripple River Mining Camp calls upon the services of Span Alaska for all of their food needs.
For years, we've been servicing remote areas of rural Alaska. You know, if it doesn't have a road to it, that's kind of been our specialty. So food product, cleaning supplies, just about anything, farm and feed supplies, hay for the dogs up there. I think right now we're about 40,000 pounds of dry barge product that goes seasonal barge, and then we're looking at about probably 10,000 pounds of bypass mail that will do well. The camp is in session up there.
While Efton is overseeing an on-time delivery from Span Alaska,
Get up a little closer!
Frank, Ralph, and Blake are falling behind and need to pick up the pace to have any chance of finishing before the truck arrives.
You might want to come in a little straighter. That's probably about good.
Meanwhile, at Northland Services, Larry is confident that his team will have the barge loaded and ready to go for an on-time departure from Seattle's Puget Sound.
Remember, Nome's seasonal, so they can only get their fuel in a 5-6 month window. Oh!
Don't tilt it too much! Those forks will come out. Okay, come on in.
It's the total logistics of accounting for everything, measuring, weighing, documenting it by the truckloads, consolidating it to platforms, and then loading the vessels. Service 150 communities. It's a logistics challenge just trying to keep it all straight. We do a remarkable job at doing that.
We'll turn it when we get it in there.
You know, there's always some unexpecteds that we deal with every year, and we're always scrambling at the end trying to make sure we've got room in the container.
A lot of the container space sometimes gets pretty tight. We have to tack it right to the top and all the way to the back. Without crushing things, that's the problem.
Just minutes before the truck arrives, Frank, Ralph, and Blake put the last couple pieces in their container and lock the door.
Yeah! There you go. Done!
So it's always kind of a hurry up and wait, hurry up and load the container and stick it on a boat for a month and then hope it's going to get there on time. And it all depends on when the ice breaks up there, and we're kind of at the mercy of Mother Nature when it comes to that.
Their job is complete, and now it's in the hands of Northland Services and Mother Nature for both an on-time departure and delivery to the port of Nome, Alaska.
Barges are innately stable platforms. They're wide, they're flat. We could probably compromise 30% of our compartments and still stay afloat. For the most part, the ocean-going tug is responsible for getting its barge in and out of every port. They're on their own.
For me, I started this with the grandeur of the romance of the sea, and I think that's fairly common for most people. I have met incredible people all across the world, going to foreign ports, little ports away from the tourist traps, and that's what works for me.
The tugboat has the barge in sight and is ready to pull the floating beast to its final destination, Nome, Alaska.
We can pull up to 2 barges, 400 foot in length and 100 foot wide, say 30,000 deadweight tons per barge.
The tugboat crew has a brief safety meeting. Then it's all hands on deck to secure the barge to the tug. Always remembering Seattle's rich gold rush history, the ships leaving Puget Sound embarking on adventures north will carry with them the same spirit of discovery that embodied the tens of thousands of dreamers that charted the same course over a century ago. Still to come on this season of Alaskan. We're following the trail of the Stampeders, taking an inside look at their arduous trek to the Klondike. We're also going along with the crew of the Alaska expedition as they arrive in Nome and assess the damage that may have occurred over the harsh winter months.
It's 1901 all over again.
We're also going along on a prospecting adventure.
Life has a flavor the sheltered shall never know.
Conditions are poor at best. Some people enjoy that. I'm enjoying myself.
As the city experiences a modern-day gold rush.
There is going to be good gold for a lot more years than I'm alive.
To learn more about Seattle's involvement with the Klondike Gold Rush and for extended content, visit AlaskanTheSeries.com.